Don't you just love this time of year, Sonic? The lights, the weather,
Around this time in 1999, Yujinaka beat me with hammers after Dreamcast sales started slipping.
That explains so much.
Alright, Pyro, it's time to pay the piper.
Oh, son of a... Hood! I'm really not in the mood to appease the algorithm right now.
Oh no, this has nothing to do with that. I'm off the clock. You know, for the holidays.
Huh, I didn't know that shadowy cultists got such good employee benefits. What do you want then?
Well, remember that time Todd Howard flung you through time and space and I helped you get home?
That was you? You sounded different back then.
Yeah, that's the voice I use to freak out people I don't know.
Okay, so what's the deal? What do I have to do?
Well, since you were in Traverse Town when I sent you back home, there's a chance that some residual darkness might have made it back with you. So to purge any of that darkness, we're gonna have to manifest some extra light into you. You following?
Not in the slightest. Go on.
Basically, you just have to play some Kingdom Hearts games. Fighting the darkness in the games should be enough to fight back the darkness inside of you.
I mean, I guess that kinda makes sense.
Hey, do you ever think about how insane your channel lore sounds to a newcomer?
All the time. A few years ago, I made a retrospective on the first Kingdom Hearts game to commemorate its 20th anniversary. So now it's about time for me to move on to commemorate the second Kingdom Hearts game, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the Game Boy Advance. Before getting started on Kingdom Hearts 2, Nomura was workshopping the idea for a lower budget midquel that would tell a story to set the stage for the true second installment. Initially titled Kingdom Hearts Lost Memories, Nomura was initially not too keen on making the game for the GBA, since he wasn't sure how the art style and gameplay would translate to 2D. His solution? Make it a card game. Kinda. Chain of Memories' story starts with whoa! Sorry, but before we go on, I really have to take the time to praise the fact that they put in the work to get a fully animated cutscene onto a GBA cartridge to start the game with. It's only the first cutscene, while the rest of the story is told through classic RPG dialogue boxes, but this sort of thing was extremely rare to see back then, so it's just cool to see that they bothered to do it at all. Anyway, Chain of Memories starts right where the first game left off, with Sora and the gang continuing their search for King Mickey and Riku. Eventually, though, their search leads them to the mysterious Castle Oblivion, where they're greeted by an equally mysterious hooded man. Little did they know that this castle is one of powerful magic. The hooded man explains to them that simply entering the castle has taken away some of their memories, and the further they go into the castle, the more memories they'll lose. And the only way to regain all their memories is to reach the top floor. The hooded man goes on to turn Sora's memories into a deck of cards for him to keep on his person at all times. So to regain his memories and eventually learn the true nature of the castle, he'll have to explore every floor and collect more of these cards. With that, Sora, Donald, and Goofy begin their quest through this strange new place in hopes of finding... who are they looking for again? Why are they here? Just as the hooded man warned, the deeper they go into the castle, the more their memories become scrambled. Eventually, Sora starts getting visions of a girl he knows. Or thinks he knows? Naminé? Is that right? Naminé? Yeah, they came to the castle to find Naminé, Sora's best friend since childhood, Naminé. In their quest to find Naminé, Sora and the gang are intercepted by even more cloaked figures, all of which are members of some mysterious organization who inexplicably want to use Sora to further their own personal goals. Over the course of the game, more and more questions start to arise. Who is Naminé? What is this organization? What are their goals? Well, I'm not gonna tell you. Like with my Kingdom Hearts 1 video, I think this story is best experienced firsthand. If you somehow can't tell already, this game is when the story really starts dipping its toes into the weirdness that the series would go on to be known for. It very intently sets up mysteries that would later be either solved or expanded upon in Kingdom Hearts 2. The game gives hints towards the organization's intentions, but never says anything outright. It all makes for a story that, while it'll give you the answers to the most immediate questions, has a habit of doing it in the most frustratingly cryptic way possible. The funny thing is, about 50% of the story in this game kinda doesn't matter. What I neglected to mention until now is that the way Castle Oblivion works is that every floor is based on one of your memories, which in this case would be Sora's memories of all the worlds from the past game. This means that half the game is essentially just a retread of different parts of Kingdom Hearts 1. I've seen people treat this as a negative for the game, and I definitely understand people's complaints, but I think this is more of a feature rather than a bug. I'm sure that Nomura had in mind that considering the game is on different hardware entirely, there would be people out there who would have this game as their first experience with Kingdom Hearts. So going back to the previous Disney worlds like this is a good way to get newcomers up to speed with everything that's happened up until now. Is this a flawless way of doing it? Absolutely not, but I can see it getting most people relatively on the same page. The story hasn't gone completely off the rails at this point, so newcomers really don't need too much context just yet. With all that out of the way, what's the gameplay like? How did Square end up translating the 3D action combat of the first game into 2D? Well, to put it simply, as I already stated, they didn't. But they kinda did? When it comes to Kingdom Hearts, nothing is quite so simple and clean. Haha, I got it in there again! Rather than being an action RPG with light platforming, Chain of Memories is a card game. An action card game. Yeah. The way it works is pretty simple in theory. Each card has a value between 0 and 9, and the higher number wins. Pretty much like the card game War, but with more running around and killing stuff. If your card beats your enemies, your action succeeds, and you cancel whatever they were trying to do. But if the enemy's card is stronger, your move gets canceled and you're left scrambling. You can reload your deck when you run out of cards, but it takes time, and time is very precious when enemies are constantly attacking. And then things get fun when you introduce the 0 value cards, which are wild cards of sorts. They can cancel out any other card no matter the value, but playing one is a risky maneuver because they can also be cancelled by literally any other card activated after you've already played the 0. I'm a big fan of glass cannon type items like this with high risk, high reward mechanics, so I had a lot of fun with these 0 values. Even if they probably hurt me more than they did help, but I think I can just chalk that up to skill issue because I suck at timing. You can also combine 3 different cards in your deck into a combo attack that's worth the value of all 3 cards. If you combine 3 cards that meet specific requirements, you can pull off a move called a Slight. The combined value of the 3 cards makes these moves harder for enemies to break, giving you a powerful edge in battle. Slights can range from special abilities found in Kingdom Hearts 1 like Sonic Blade to new moves altogether that can decimate your enemies. Although relying on them too much comes with a big downside. The first card in the combo is permanently removed from your deck for the rest of the fight, and the only way to recover it is by using a specific item card like an elixir. The whole system sounds chaotic, but it's actually surprisingly deep and rewarding once you get the hang of it. As you collect cards through the game, you can customize your deck however you want, choosing which cards to use and in what order. Building and tweaking your deck feels like its own little puzzle, and it's fun to experiment with different combinations. Even the simple act of leveling up adds a layer of strategy, as you have to decide whether to increase your card capacity or boost your health. It's yet another interesting risk-reward system that can end up helping you just as much as it punishes you. It all really comes down to strategy and customizing your experience to fit your preferences. The combat in this game requires a lot of planning and focus. You're constantly juggling where to stand, which cards to use, and how to time your attacks. Unlike the first game, there's no blocking, so dodging and positioning are key, especially if you end up wasting all your cards by attacking at the wrong time or spamming combos like in the original. Despite its steep learning curve, the card system can be really satisfying once you understand how it works. It's a big departure from what fans expected, but it pushes you to think strategically and approach battles in a completely new way. To this day, I can't think of any other game with a system like it, although we did get close. Another Nomura-directed game, The World Ends With You, started development as a sort of spiritual successor to this game, but slowly but surely transformed into a very different but similarly weird game. But that's probably a story for another day. I will say that while the combat is interesting, the level design leaves much to be desired. The game is essentially set up like a sort of dungeon crawler. You travel these worlds, open doors that will contain either loot or enemies, and then move on to the next world to search for more loot and fight more enemies. The problem is how the worlds are structured. The fact that the worlds are segmented into rooms like this means that a lot of the areas just kind of blend together, and make it so you can get turned around fairly easily in some cases. If it weren't for the world map that tells you exactly which room you're in on each floor at any given time, it would be really easy to get lost. Like, I get it, it's an isometric game on Game Boy Advance, but even the different rooms you go into just don't vary all that much aside from door and item placement. There's some very minor platforming here, but it feels as if the only reason there's any verticality to these rooms at all is because there was vertical platforming in the worlds in the first game. For the longest time, Chain of Memories has gone down as the black sheep of the series, and for very good reason. The gameplay is completely different from most of the other games in this series. In fact, it's completely different from any other game. That being said, I think this game gets a bit too much unnecessary hate from fans because of that black sheep status, with many people recommending newcomers to just watch the cutscenes of the PS2 remake online and then jump straight into Kingdom Hearts 2, which is actually exactly what I did at first. But nowadays, I can't help but feel that this line of thinking does nothing but pay a massive disservice to this game. Kingdom Hearts as a series is weird, and Chain of Memories is really weird. It's perfectly within the spirit of this series for it to be so freaking weird. If anything, you should play this game just for the experience alone. You might be tempted to take a shortcut and go straight to Kingdom Hearts 2, but there's definitely merit to going through the trials that this game puts in place. Not to mention, I'd argue that Chain of Memories isn't even that much of a black sheep anymore. Since this game was released, Kingdom Hearts has gotten an MMO, a rhythm game, another card game, and a Pokemon Go clone that at this point may or may not even exist. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts is weird, and once you embrace the weirdness, not only will you have way more fun, but the story in turn will immerse you and tug at your heartstrings in ways you never expected. After all is said and done, you'll find yourself thanking Naminé for taking you on this little adventure, and cherishing the memories you made along the way. Alright, that wasn't so bad. So, on to Kingdom Hearts 2?
You're good for now. Playing one Kingdom Hearts game a year should be enough to keep the darkness at bay.
Let me guess. Once I play all of them, I'll be cured?
Yep.
Then why shouldn't I play all of them in one sitting? Get it over with.
Because you're a Halo channel now? You have to remember, I'm still here to help you with the algorithm. And right now, the algorithm thinks you're a Halo channel.
But I'm not a Halo channel. I guess I'm a Halo channel. I mean, maybe being allowed one video dedicated to keep me out of the darkness isn't too bad?
Did somebody say Skyrim?
No! Thanks for watching. If you like this video, leave a like and become a pyromaniac yourself by subscribing. Until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.